I'm Bambi Francisco with this segment of Lessons for Entrepreneurs, and I'm speaking with Mehdi Maghsoodnia. He's an executive in residence at Trinity Ventures. Mehdi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bambi, for having me.
You've been an entrepreneur for many years. You've started 3 companies on your own before you came to Trinity. So you've had a lot of experience as an entrepreneur. For the Vader audience out there, what are your 3 pieces of advice?
Oh, it's always dangerous to narrow it down to 3, but I think the 3 ones that I remember the most clearly is, number 1, you always have to really, really value the people that you work with and you hire and you retain. So really understanding the quality of the people you bring onto your enterprise and how you value their contribution and how you respect them goes a long way, not only in terms of your own success, but in terms of building a future network, in terms of creating a reputation for yourself in the future. So I think the key thing is really do respect and value your people. And hire very good people always. Assemble the best team. The second lesson that I learned very early on is sort of the lesson of sort of being humble, realizing what you don't know. My first company I sold when I was 24, and I thought I knew everything, and ended up making a lot of mistakes 2 years after my first acquisition. And I learned that sort of being humble and learning from people around you is a key lesson. There's so many smart people around you that you can always constantly be in a learning mode and listening and picking people's brains and understanding how the rest of the industries function. And the third lesson is really being focused on execution. I also learned that by mistakes, which is you get excited and you tend to do so many different things in the early days of a startup. And the discipline of saying no is far more important in the early stages, knowing exactly what it is you should not be doing.
Right.
And I did that, probably 4 or 5 years of my life after I got out of Stanford was thinking that I could do so many more things by staying up later, a couple of more hours, and driving the team even harder, and then learning that actually it becomes a massive distraction and you don't focus. Right. So focus and sort of learning to say no is a big lesson, I think, in your startups.
And you talked about making mistakes. Can you be a little bit specific? I hear your lessons that obviously you learned from those mistakes, but can you be specific about any 1 or 2 that you can share?
On the people side, I probably don't want to be specific because if I give names, my friends would write me emails the next day.
I know how you feel about that.
On the focus part, I think the specific lesson on the focus part was, for example, one of the companies we started when I was coming out of Stanford was called the Presidio Networks. We built a pharmaceutical clinical trial software, and in the process of sort of doing that, me and my co-founder Adam Galper, who's a great guy who came out of Stanford also, we got excited by the number of opportunities out there. And within about 1.5 years, we started expanding into doing software for all segments of pharmaceuticals in about 5 continents. So we were flying to Germany, France, and we were up practically days in a row trying to satisfy too many customers on too many fronts. And that was a very big lesson as to where is your focus? Where do you want to dominate? What geography? What sector? What customer base?
Right.
And we pulled out of that experience and actually sold the company successfully. But it was one of those experiences where everybody got burned. I mean, by end of the 4th year.
And burned out.
By end of the 4th year, I think we were so exhausted that Adam and I probably didn't talk for about 1 year. It's like.
Well, see, you learn these things in kindergarten. Remember when it says, don't fill up your plate? Everything you need to know you learn in kindergarten. Don't fill up your plate. Kids always do that. They always take in more than they can actually consume, and you do it when you're older, too. But sounds like you've learned that lesson.
Oh, yeah, I think I've learned that lesson.
Okay, Mehdi, thank you for sharing.
Appreciate it, man.
I've been speaking with Mehdi Maghsoodnia of Trinity Ventures. I'm Bambi Francisco.